This is season 2 of The Sweater with Kathleen Dames. Over the course of our 12-week season, we will knit the pearly pullover together. Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 8 of The Sweater with Kathleen Dames. Woohoo! We're on season 2, episode 8. Today's all about the joining round, which is when we put the body and the sleeves all together on one needle and we start the exciting work of doing those decreases that are going to shape things and make the sweater fit your body. So I am just about ready. I thought I would slip these stitches onto waste yarn for my second sleeve. I escaped Sleeve Island and, and I'm ready for the exciting part. So what I'm going to do is slip the stitches onto waste yarn. For my size, I need 16 stitches, 8 before and after the change of round. And okay, so I've got 8 here, and then go back, put the other 8 on. And I think I said this before, but I'll say it again, I like to use waste yarn. It's nice and flexible, which means those first few rounds you will discover things are a little tight here in getting all those stitches together. So the waste yarn is just a lot more flexible than most of our other options. And I like to leave a long bit so it can stretch out, so those stitches can stretch as we're going around, and then things start to settle down once you have a few rounds in. So don't worry that the whole time you're going to be wrestling with this or it's going to be unwieldy. It's not. Okay, so I've got this sleeve ready, and next we are going to join in the body. So I need to shift. I'm using an interchangeable needle set, and so I'm going to take the stopper off here, off the body, and switch it. So I'll have a needle on here to work the body stitches after the sleeve. Okay. Let's see if I did this right. Did I do this right? We want to make sure we're like this. Yes. So we're going to go, we've done the sleeve essentially. We're going to do the sleeve. There are different ways you can do it. I want to start with the sleeve. So that will be our beginning of round. And then we'll go to the body, so that our marker is going to be back here on the back shoulder. So, and if you're using a marker, I'm not using a marker because I'm changing skeins every row. And so that's really my marker. I will be using other markers to mark our, here we go. I'll get this sorted out eventually. I will be using markers for our raglan lines. And the raglan, so the raglan is this diagonal line here. I'm wearing another raglan sweater today. It's the deckhand, the women's deckhand pattern. And the raglan lines will decrease twice at each point. And the raglan points are where the body meets the sleeve in 4 spots. So body to sleeve, sleeve to body, body to sleeve, sleeve to body. And I like to use removable stitch markers that I put right in the stitch usually. Although this time we're doing 2 decreases right next to each other, and that's going to leave this tiny, it almost looks like a ladder, and it makes this nice decorative line. So I'm going to use an actual marker between the stitches, and I'm going to do a decrease 2 stitches before and then 2 stitches after. But we'll get into that much more next episode. So for now, we are beginning. Got our things in place. I have to slide a few more stitches, the body underarm stitches, off the needle, and now I'm ready to go. So I've got my body underarm stitches, and they match up with my sleeve underarm stitches, and I've got my yarn. And this round is a little fiddly, just because you're going to be keeping track of things. Some people like to just put everything on waste yarn, and that works too, or slip everything to one needle before they start. I tend to sort of work as I go, and for that I'm just going to there we go. I'm going to hold this up. So I'm going to work around my sleeve stitches, and it should be your top of sleeve stitch number minus those underarm stitches. And we're going to work our way around. I don't have my stitch markers handy right this second, so I'm going to place my stitch markers in the next round, because I'll still be able to tell where to place them. If you wait until after that, if you wait a few more rounds, if you decide you want a little more space before you begin your decreases, then it may be a little harder to discern the exact spot where the sleeve meets the body. So for your size, you should have your top of sleeve stitches minus the underarm stitches. And we're almost around to the other side, at which point we will switch over to the body. I think my yarn just fell on the floor. Does that ever happen to you? This isn't my usual knitting position. I'm usually happily ensconced in my spot on the couch and have everything sort of laid out around me. But in the interests of good video, I'm here in my usual stand-up place with Jane, and that means things are a little different, but that's okay. All right, we're getting really close, oops, to the spot where we're going to join our first set of stitches. But really we're just arranging them all onto one needle. All right, so now I have a free needle, yay. And now it's time to go to the other side of those underarm stitches. And I'm going to put, there we go, the needle on. And that's why I like the interchangeable needles, or if you have more than one of the same size needle, it's really nice. It just makes things go a little more quickly, and there's just less waste yarn being wasted. Not that, I mean, that's what waste yarn is for. Now, the one thing to do is to make sure those stitches are as snug as they can be between the sleeve and the body, just because they are going to be stretched. So we want them to be, we want to be kind. And let's see, the one thing I didn't do was count out over to my second underarm stitch. So hold on a second. I'm going to grab my, okay, got my pattern, right? We all need our pattern. And I didn't do the other underarm. So I need to work across 83 stitches for the front. And again, I'm showing you, conveniently, I'm wearing another raglan, and I'm going to work across to here, and then I'm going to just put those stitches on waste yarn before I start working the other sleeve. All right, and we're back. Through the magic of video editing, I have counted my stitches and placed them on waste yarn, and here you can start to see how everything is going to look. So we've got our sleeve here, and then the body. Can you see all those body stitches? And we'll have the other sleeve here, and we're making a bigger loop. And it's like, I guess it's not quite a Venn diagram, but we are joining two small circles or ovals and one larger one all together to form everything. And they've got little spots where they touch. And those spots where they touch are the underarm stitches. And you want to make sure that you have the same number of underarm stitches for each sleeve and both sides of the body. And they should be evenly divided between the front and the back. So your front and back should have the same number. Each sleeve should have the same number. Your body underarms should have the same number, and your sleeve underarms should have the same number. And the body to sleeve underarms should be matched up, because at the end we're going to Kitchener stitch them together, which is a way of creating an additional row of stitches between two sets of live stitches. And The reason I prefer Kitchener rather than, I know some people have you do a 3-needle bind off or bind off those stitches and then sew them together, but that means you end up with that uncomfortable seam in your delicate underarm area. And why would you want to do that when you could make a nice, smooth, seamless fabric that won't irritate or bunch and is really just the perfect end to this sweater. And it's really almost the only finishing work. After you bind off stitches, you'll do the Kitchener stitch, weave in all your ends, turn it inside out, and you're good to go. You're probably going to need to wash and block your sweater, and we'll get to that in a few episodes. But one of the reasons I love this design is it is virtually, sorry I dropped a stitch, it is virtually finish free. Now, I love a good button. As you know, we went on a button hunt last season for the for the solstice cardi. But for the pearly pullover, there aren't any notions. It's really just kind of as basic as it gets. But it's still special. And that's, of course, the other thing I like about it is that it's not your bog standard pullover. It's not boring. It may not be the most exciting thing to knit, but sometimes you just need some good, soothing stockinette, or at least I know I do. So that's another thing to keep in mind. All right, I'm getting very close to my second set of underarm stitches, and we'll be ready to join in that other sleeve. So as I've said before, if you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the forums on Ravelry or in the comments below if you are watching this on YouTube, which I highly recommend, so you can see what I'm doing. But if you're listening on iTunes, that's fine. Just come on over to the Kathleen Names Design Ravelry group and ask any questions that you might have. That way I can answer them and everybody can see that. Okay, so I have gone across the front, and now, since I already have it on waist yarn, I'm just going to pull these off. It's kind of like a zipper, and there are my other underarm stitches. And now it's going to be time to untangle things here. That's my other needle. And now, thank you, Jane, for holding on to number 2. And once again, I have to slip the stitches that are being held off of the working needle. And another stopper here. I really do like the interchangeable needle sets for this kind of work. It just is very convenient. And then I'm going to put the other needle on, and now we are going to jump. Essentially, we're jumping over. Okay. And I need a stopper. And we're going to jump over the underarm, or sort of work around. We're going to be working around those underarm stitches to join in. Okay, body to sleeve. Slip half of those underarm sleeve stitches off at the beginning, and the other half should be at the end. And like magic loop, I'm going to pull out a little loop of needle here, and we're ready to go. And now we're going to be adding, as you can see, right, here's our body loop, and here's our other sleeve loop, and now we're adding in this sleeve loop. So here we go with our sleeve, and conveniently I have already set aside the underarm stitches, so it's just a matter of going around until we get to that waist yarn holding those stitches. So I don't need to count or anything here. I've already done the counting. I like to do that to set you up so you can just plow ahead with your work rather than spending a lot of time counting all the time. So there we go. Almost halfway done with our sleeve. I made sure that everything is turned right side out because I want to work this all right side out. But I had turned sleeves inside out to see how nice the pearl fabric looks. So just if you do that to admire your pearl fabric, don't forget to flip it back the other way. Because you can actually join the sleeves from the wrong side. It works, is what I should say, but it won't look the way you're expecting it to. Now that would be another nice way to do it, to do a raglan and have the body be one fabric, say stockinette, and the sleeves be the other, reverse stockinette, or vice versa. I like that sort of playing with texture, but that's not what we're doing today. So make sure everything is facing the right direction. and ready to go. I am almost done with this sleeve. And we'll pull out the other underarm stitches. I know I'm kind of belaboring this point, but really you want to make sure everything matches. You want your sweater to be symmetrical. And the last one, there we go. And I'll pull the other needle out of the rest of the underarm stitches. There we go. And now we have our second underarm. I'm going to need to reclaim the needle here to finish the body. And now we're going to work across the back stitches. And at this point we have completed the circle. We haven't gone all the way around it, but we have made one whole circle, which is the exciting part. Okay, so now I'm ready to work across the back. All right, and again, you want to sort of make sure that first stitch or two is snug between the sleeve and now back on the body. All right, and now we're just going to race across the back of the body and come back to our beginning. And if you are not alternating skeins, this will be the place to place a marker to indicate the beginning of the round so that you know where you are. And make sure if you are not alternating skeins that your marker is different for the beginning of round than the other markers for your raglans, just so you don't get confused, so you remember where you started, and so that you don't have to go back and examine all of your knitting to find out where exactly was it that I started, because this sweater is symmetrical, and for that, so that means the front and the back are the same, and it's a little more difficult to tell the difference. We will talk about in the next episode, we'll talk a little bit about raising the back of the neck. I like it wide open, and you can see on Jane, it's pretty much the same front and back, so it's up a little in the back and down a little in the front, but I like that wide open neckline for this sweater. So I'm not going to be raising the back of the neck, but I know some people don't want it to be the same front and back, and so we'll talk just a little bit about where you could put in some short rows, and that would give you some extra fabric on the back, and that's not hard to do. You can certainly do it. Remember, like I said last time, probably over and over, you are the boss of your knitting, so don't fret about doing it differently than I'm doing it, because we have different bodies, we want different things out of our sweaters, and so we should get what we want. I mean, that's kind of the point of making your own clothes, is to make it fit you, to have it be the kind of fit you want, and you want it to be something, after you're putting in all of these hours working on this sweater, you want it to be something that you're going to be excited to put on every time you see it in your sweater drawer or your closet or wherever you keep your woolies. Okay, I'm almost back around to the beginning, and that is of course where I'm going to join in my other skein, because I'm going to keep alternating skeins. The beauty of hand-dyed yarn is each skein is a little different, and then of course the challenge of that is that sometimes there will be, depending on the number of stitches in your piece, when you're working back and forth, you could end up with sort of streaks of color, what we call flashing and pooling, and I don't want that. I want it to sort of be distributed and mixed up, and a whole mosaic of the varying shades of beautiful peony that we have here in Happy Fuzzy Yarns Merino DK. Sorry, DK Merino, I should say. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we're back around. Again, I've got the second set of underarm stitches, and now I'm ready to join things all together. I'm going to try and show you. I'm going to stretch everything out on the needle so you can really see how everything looks when it's joined together, to make sure that you're not getting any surprises. Okay, so there we go. All right, we're ready to put, we're not ready to put it on, but we're ready to begin the real final knitting stage. You can see here's one sleeve, right? And the underarm, and then the body, other underarm, and the other sleeve. So, but we're working all just around the perimeter, and we've got one big oval now. and now I'm going to join in the second skein, and I'm going to start working on the yoke pretty soon. So that's very exciting. That's what we'll be talking about next time, about the yoke shaping, what exactly the raglan shaping is doing, and the specific kind of decreases that I recommend in the pattern so that you get this, this sort of little bit of a ladder, decorative ladder here along, and the decreases show up so they have this pretty little chain. So that's what we'll be talking about next time on episode 9. Hard to believe we're getting to that point. This is the fun part. Everything's coming together. We are making a 3D thing that's going to fit on our bodies, and that is really exciting. So until next time, I hope everything goes well with the joining round. If you have questions, be sure to ask them in the forum or below here if you're watching this on YouTube. Below the show notes, there is a spot for comments. If you're listening on iTunes, you can go over to YouTube and find the place to leave comments there, or I highly recommend the Ravelry forums. Anything else, I've covered everything in the show notes, including what I'm wearing today, which is the women's deckhand pullover, another fun raglan with a few other special details like stripes and a split yoke with buttons. So that's another great option. And I guess that's it for today. So thank you so much for being here, and happy knitting. Mwah! Bye. This is season 2 of The Sweater with Kathleen Dames. Over the course of our 12-week season, we will knit the Pearly Pullover together. Many thanks to Reem at Happy Fuzzy Yarns, Corinna at Picnic Knits, Tara Swiger and my fellow Starship captains, and you for being a part of The Sweater with Kathleen Dames. Don't forget to visit KathleenDames.com/thesweater to sign up for the newsletter before July 22nd to receive your free copy of the Pearly Pullover in your welcome email. Is it after July 22nd? Just not a joiner? Purchase your copy of the Pearly Pullover from my Ravelry shop anytime. Be sure to share your progress on social media with the hashtags Pearly Pullover and KD Sweater. Questions? Comments? Visit the Kathleen Dames Design for Ravelry forum today. Thanks so much for joining me, and happy knitting!